Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about my experience as an intern for Video Link LLC in Newton, Massachusetts this past summer. The reason I'm choosing to talk about this experience is because of all the useful things I've learned while working there that I believe can be useful for anyone who feels like they want to work for a smaller production company. Without further ado, let's get into it, shall we? This internship came about as a rather last-minute addition to my summer. I didn't really have much plan until my friend told me about how he was living in Newton and asked if I wanted to join him. This led me to scouring the web for any sort of information on Newton summer internships or part-time jobs that actually retained some interest for me. As funny as it may sound, I primarily used internships.com to search for potential openings. As a side note, I highly recommend using this website, as it provides a multitude of specific search tools to help narrow down what you are looking for. As I searched through the lists, I discovered a media internship opening with VideoLink. After applying and speaking to their internship correspondents, they decided that I was someone that they would enjoy having intern for them. The match was set and I was ready to make my travel and living arrangements for Newton. After a roughly 16-hour delay with Spirit Airlines, never use them because they are horrible, we arrived in Newton in the wee hours of the morning. Waking up from some much-needed rest, I set out to find the company. Only a short train ride away, I arrived at the HQ, which was set to have my first meeting with the Chief Marketing Officer, Tim Palmer. Tim and I discussed a lot about what the company primarily does and how they go about doing it. A small but well-versed team of focused and creative minds build up this company and have been able to get plenty of work because of it. As a production company, their goal is to help other companies produce and distribute video media for many different purposes. For example, they've worked with companies like American Airlines, Audi, Cars.com, Fox, NBC, CNN, ESPN, CNBC, etc. The list goes on, and it was pretty amazing to hear about all these different high-end companies that they have already done work for. But it wasn't until I got there that I realized that their company has been around since 1990. So they have some solid experience under their belts already, but they're still a company that incorporates a younger team to blend in with their older team to have a nice balance in terms of who's doing what. VideoLinks was founded in 1992 by Douglas Wiseman, who today remains the chairman of the company. Originating in Newton, Wiseman wanted to work with the companies in order to improve their video quality and provide a better media experience for their viewers. Starting with local universities like Harvard and Boston University, VideoLinks earned a spot on the map with their overall quality, creativity, and uniqueness. This opened the door to other forms of media for other kinds of companies. So companies started realizing that the service that VideoLinks was providing was actually very valuable. And there weren't too many companies who were doing it like VideoLinks was. VideoLinks was using the size of their company to their advantage. They were really, establishing a clear and trustworthy relationship with their clients so that they are able to, really establish a good enough work relationship so that the clients are completely trusting in what Video Links is going to do for them. And, just by showing past work, it's pretty clear that Video Links knows what they're doing. So when they show that kind of quality to their clients are going to be very interested in what they have to do. And they're not going to be too worried about, the technical side, because Video Links is able to prove that they're good at doing it. So the company can just focus on their actual performance in whatever video is being shot and leave all the technicalities up to Video Links. And as an intern, my primary role was to help out in various parts of the process in which the company goes through when working with these companies. I bounced around a lot, but never really got my hands too deep into any of the actual creative process, which was a little upsetting but pretty understanding. As an intern, they really just wanted me to get a general lay of the land and not necessarily go too deep in. I mean, if I did good on my first go around as an intern, then they would probably bring me back to be more of a bigger part of the creative process instead of just doing all the typical intern things. So I started out as a typical intern who was there to help people with whatever they needed. So yes, I did do some coffee runs and lunch runs, but in doing so, I was able to meet various members of the team and learn a bit more about what they do. For example, I had lunch with this one guy named Jerry McDermott, who was one of the cameramen for the company. And Jerry talked a lot about, the different types of shoots he's been a part of, and even, he's led a bunch of different shoots on several different occasions. And, he's only probably 30 years old. So there are definitely some younger people working in the company, which is a nice blend because you have the older employees who have been with the company longer and have been in the field longer, and they understand it more, and they're really just there to oversee a lot of things but still be a part of the process and help some of the younger guys get more situated in the field and in what they're doing, just to pass down some general knowledge. But for Jerry, his highlights were working with ESPN in particular and filming, interviews with Michael Wilbon, with various NBA athletes from, Dwayne Wade to LeBron James. He would always mention how rewarding it feels to be up close to a lot of these famous people and being able to be a part of their process and their creative process, which allows them to express themselves or express an idea or a message through a digital creative media. So a lot of people like that were very open to me and willing to take me kind of under their wing at times and take time to explain what they were doing and why they were doing what they were doing in certain ways. So it was really fascinating. While working there, I learned a lot about working in smaller companies compared to larger companies. For starters, smaller companies feel a lot more intimate and close, which can be really nice for a work environment. Everyone there knows everybody and is typically friendly and nice to one another. This was, a really good feel working in a smaller environment because you're going to see the same people every day. Whereas, in a larger company, you may not necessarily interact with everybody. So it's nice to have a trusting relationship with the people you work with. The teams are never too big, which meant everyone in the team knew who you were and knew what you were capable of and what you're supposed to be doing and know that you can do it, and just expect a certain quality from you. So with this sort of tight-knit feel, you need to have trust in each other, which is the biggest thing I learned while working there, is having trust in the people around you to produce the level you expect. If you trust the people you work with, you won't be worrying about how they're going to do on a project, which gives you the space to solely focus on what you need to do. I also learned that smaller companies really put their heart and soul into what they do. Not having a massive company in which several other companies are putting in orders allows them to put 1,000% into each project they work on. When I worked with a larger company here in Chicago, there were so many projects going on at once that it was hard to keep track. When you're forced to multitask between projects, it can be difficult to focus on the quality rather than, getting it done. And finally, I learned you should really never be afraid to ask questions. The people I worked with were so friendly and so willing to answer any questions in order to assure that you are 100% on whatever you're doing. Never feel like you can't speak up if you aren't sure on something, because asking what you may think is a stupid question can actually be a really good question and can, instill trust into your coworkers a little bit more. One part of the process that I unfortunately didn't get time to observe much of was client interaction and relations. I was unable to sit in on client meetings since they thought I needed more experience in order to do that. Plus, they weren't sure how the clients would respond to interns watching their conversations, so it was just not happening. What I did learn, though, is that client relations are such a huge portion of getting deals done. If you are able to instill that trust in your clients, then they will give you so much creative freedom that you can prove to them why coming to you is the right call. From what I have heard from several people there, it seemed like they really prioritize client relations. And being from a small company, they're able to give that intimate feel since they aren't massive, and that they can really focus on that single client's project to make it the best it can be. I never really imagined client relations being this big of a priority for some reason. But for this company, once I left, I decided to never question the commitments of a small company. Their size works to their advantage in that field, and it's just such a big part of what they do. At the end of the day, I would say that working for Video Links was a very rewarding and all-around awesome experience. Hopefully, me sharing this with you all has provided some insight into smaller companies and what it feels like to work for one. I would highly recommend working for smaller companies, even if they are just starting up. Smaller companies can still offer so much valuable knowledge and experience, because smaller companies could just be doing things for the first time, so they're possibly trying out different creative mediums in order to, accomplish what they want to. And by taking these, little leaps of faith and these risks, they kind of learn as they go along. And I just think it's really cool to be a part of a company that's not necessarily as established as some other big company, but they've got the people working for them in order to, progress together and learn together and, fail together and just, become a better company because of it. And I think it's a really rewarding experience being able to be on both ends of the spectrum to fully grasp what it's like to be in both companies, but smaller companies, I think, offer, especially for students like us who are just, trying to get our feet wet and trying to, just get some form of experience, like any experience we can. I think smaller companies are a really valuable source. And hopefully everyone gets a chance to work for one